Okay. Tony's right. I don't really do nothing for New Year's. I am going with canned collards and canned black eyed peas this year, even though I got both fresh. Um, but I just don't feel like it. I'm doing my laundry. I'm African American. These are things that we do. I know people were like cuss me out for the collard greens. I was gonna take the ones out my freezer and call it a day. I'll cook some more collards later. But yeah, getting ready for the new year. It's like 7 p.m. here on the East Coast. Washing laundry, like I said, and just I'm trying out this new. I know this is like so distracting, but I'm trying out this new thing I got from the dollar store because I went and got some treats and stuff like that. They didn't have no dollar store kind of thing. That was like for New Year, you know. I was like, damn, they did have the spring pots and stuff. So I'm trying to like grow my stuff this year, 2026. So man, that thing is loud as fuck downstairs. Sorry. But yeah, I've just been cleaning up and stuff like that. New Year's is also a time of cleaning traditionally. I don't know what it is where you're from, but for us culturally, it's like cleaning. It is what it is in this house. I did back up a lot of trash and stuff like that. Anyway, it's 2026 when you guys are seeing this. Happy 2026. So yeah, this video is going to be about writing and the need to have like diversity, but like maybe you should like extend diversity to like length of books. And I'm doing this because I had a wonderful short novel class that I got introduced to some really cool books. And I think that a lot of people, they're yearning for diversity with people, but I think they should be yearning for diversity in terms of book length, in terms of like genre books, like reading like a play, reading poetry, reading memoir, reading magazines, anthology, you know, academic papers. And then when it comes to the length of it, this is like a canvas that I have of my art. It's old art, but this thick, a book like that, like maybe consider reading very thin books. Maybe consider reading novellas, novelettes, short stories, nano microfiction. And I'm just saying, like, we talk about these things and reading and all that kind of stuff. And I've said it in the previous videos, but I think in 2026, like, explore and expand your mind to what a story looks like. I think a lot of people have anxiety about reading books. They feel unapproachable because of the length for a lot of them. But I think even you as a writer, the approach to writing, like, I think we need to get away from like the 300-page like novel being the standard and explore like those shorter like works and stuff like that. Of course, some stories probably should be like 300 pages or 2 books or something like that. But sometimes I think the reason why when we get into these literary critiques or critiques of books is because the book really ended 100 pages ago. It really could have been a tight 200-page novel instead of a 350 or 300-page like novel. Like, it could have been a tight work and then there's like a bunch of filler. And I think we really need to start looking at like, are books putting in a lot of filler to like reach that word count? If so, can you give me my fucking money back? Give me my money back, ho. But I think for me, like, shorter works are just more approachable, but also I like writing shorter. And I realize a lot of my concepts, if I'm going to write like a story for a book, they're shorter books, and I'm okay with that. And I think there's a little bit of discomfort that comes with being a writer and maybe for shorter works, because for some reason, like, you're not as legitimate of a writer if you haven't written a 300-page thing, or, you know, I've written like 12 400-page books, but it's like, are you writing? Damn, well, she died. Sorry. Like, watching, is it Criminal Minds or something like that? And the girl fell out the window onto the road. But like, you know, it's 2026 when you're seeing this, right? And I just feel like, why is it so hard to just write your story? And if your story, once it's edited and polished and shit like that, is 100 pages, what's wrong with 100 pages? It's just as worthy of being in a bookstore, on Amazon or Barnes, or wherever you're gonna put a local bookshop, as anything. Like, I'm not understanding like the need to like bloat your work in order to feel like it's doing something. And so if you have novellas and microfictions and stuff like that, go with that. Like, why stress yourself out trying to make a longer work? You know what I'm saying? And I feel like if you actually also plan your work, like the plot, actually plot it, people are like, I write it to see my pen. Okay, I guess. But knowing your story helps. Like, knowing your story helps. And, you know, there's some genres, because I was watching a few people talk about like high fantasy and stuff like that, and how people in high fantasy, they're like, you know, they write really thick books. Like, maybe your high fantasy could be 100 pages. Like, challenge yourself. Like, if your genre is known for really long books, make a really tight concept instead. Like, do that. Like, I just feel like we talk about diversity in terms of ethnicity and background and stuff like that, but I think diversity is actual structures, like I said, and links. And I'm standing on that, because I don't care, like, if you're black, if you still are like a 300-page book and most of this shit is filler, I'm gonna be looking at you the same way as I'm looking at somebody else. Like, girl, like, you could have shot this shit down. So think about diversity of thought and ideas and narrative structure and stuff like that. And that kind of requires you to like read more, yes, and then start to really dive deep into what they're doing and start learning about craft and the history of writing and stuff like that. Because, like, yeah, like, we have things where like there's large text, like religious texts are famous for being like long because people have to memorize them and stuff like that. But like, people used to make little stories. Like, we don't have to do, this doesn't have to be so complicated. So consider short works. Challenge yourself to short works. Challenge yourself to write outside of your established genre. Challenge yourself to read outside of your established genre. Make the effort to like learn about different plot devices and narrative devices. If you're doing poetry, forms of poetry, you know, poetic forms, just challenge yourself to step outside of it. And I think if we do that, we'll start to see a lot more diversity too, because people will start to read the stuff that is a little bit more experimental or weird or out there. And it's really only that because it's not in just yet. It's on the fringes of society. But once it gets in, then it's accepted and we can move on to the next wave and frontier. I'm always looking like forward and stuff like that. Like, if you know me, one of my biggest pet peeves, this is about music, is that I hate when people say, I want 90s R&B to come back, and it's like, it's 2025, it's about to be 2026. Like, we're getting closer to 2030. Get the out of here with this shit. Like, stop. Like, it's been nearly 30 years. It's 30 years since the end of the, like, as far as I'm concerned, it's been 30 years since the end of the night. Like what? Like I just be so confused where people will be like, I want that 90s R&B, like going back in the day. It's just, some of it is like, I get it, like the technical and stuff like that, and music has got changed, and the structure of music's changed, and the music industry has changed, and how we present it has changed, and the marketing and the back end and stuff like that has changed. But you know what seems to not have changed? The consumer. And it's like that, the people that are experimenting and putting stuff, like, you don't see them because you are unwilling to like open your mind up. And I think that's another thing. If you feel stuck within your writing, consider opening yourself up to a possibility that the form that you're choosing right now doesn't fit. And then like you can be a writer that is tweaking the form just a little bit, or like in a different genre, or merging genres and stuff like that, and having a creative work. Does it make it maybe harder to sell? Possibly, depending on how you're writing it. But like, let's stop being static and stale in 2026 and beyond. Experiment, change it up, try and do things, different perspectives. Go from there, okay? So that's all I wanted to say. Stay encouraged, write on. Yeah. I think that's about it. I was going to give an example of one, but I'm just going to write something instead, or like maybe make a post. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.